Is ready. Let's start our live broadcasting. I'm happy to welcome everybody. Good morning, dear colleagues, dear speakers. Good morning, dear participants of our digital forum, Artificial Intelligence, a Step into the Future. I'm very happy to welcome everybody today. On the second day of our forum, we start the session Intelligent Models and Technologies in Digital Ecosystems. Our session will take 1 hour and a half. I'm happy to introduce the host and speakers. The host is Olga Kitova, Russian Plekhanov Russian University of Economics. The university is hosting all of us. Olga is a head of informatics, chair of the Plekhanov Russian University of Economics, doctor of economics. Alexey Arustamov, CEO of Genome Company, industrial partner, Faculty of Informatics and Higher School of Cyber Mathematics and Statistics, one of the speakers. Igor Morozov, Rector of IT Academy, a softline company, also industrial partner of our university. Sergei Nikichuk, associated partner of our university, company B1, Information Technology. Earlier, it used to be known as Ernst & Young. Now this brand will be even more popular now. And Alexey Nikolaevich Averkin, Chief Researcher, Federal Research Center, Computer Science and Control of the Russian Academy of Sciences. Thank you so much. So let's start our session with a presentation by Olga Kitova. This year we celebrate 100-year University of since the birth of famous scientist Viktor Glushkov, prominent mathematician who played a fundamental role in the development of cybernetics in the USSR. He was the head of the cybernetics program of the USSR. Olga, the floor is yours. Thank you so much. My presentation is the first because it covers a lot of questions that are connected with state planning, digitalization of our state, development of digital platforms, creative heritage, and future forecast. Dear colleagues, when we speak about state planning and management and its digitalization, all this is relied on achievements of the Soviet science and technologies. Now, on AGAS program, and I would like to say that the USSR was a leader in the digitalization in terms of state planning. The projects AGAS and Red Book are the first projects in the world on creation of digital economy. Mr. Glushkov developed a theory of information barriers, which is a development of famous cybernetics laws, also Ashby law. Amount of information when economy is growing as much as it faces the first barrier, and the system faces bureaucracy and monetary relations, and the second barrier was overcome in the middle of the previous century. Not only bureaucracy system and monetary relations are enough, and it is necessary to add computer systems. The pioneer of informatics and cybernetics, ideologist of digital state, Mr. Glushkov, made its contribution to a number of activities like theory of digital automatization, theory of projecting of computers, and he made one of the most efficient computers in the USSR. and he developed the management system for the state, which is called AGAS system. This year we celebrate 100 years anniversary since his birth. Mr. Glushkov, of course, had a lot of awards, including both Soviet and foreign ones like Bulgarian and many others. He was a member of the Academy of Science. He was the counselor of the General Secretary of the UN. He even had his office in the UN building in New York. He used to be the counselor of the government of Bulgaria, of Germany, and he also received the medal Computer Pioneer for digital automatization of computer architecture. Only 30 people throughout the history received this medal. Glushkov used to be the ideologist and scientific host of, and he made the first ASU at the factory named Electron in the USSR. He used to be the mentor and consultant of all industrial ASU of defense ministries, ASU of military services of the USSR, which was launched in the 70s, and now it is ASU of our Ministry of Defense in Russia. Mr. Glushkov was the founder of the project AGAS. This is the general state system for automatization system of collecting and processing information for planning and management of economy. Mr. Kosygin addressed him and asked to develop such system, because we face the second barrier. So the state plan was not enough for complicated economy. At that time in the USSR, there were more than 50,000 manufacturing sites, thousands of fields. And Glushkov suggested the system of AGAS as a one system for automatization of collecting and processing information for planning and management of the economy. Let me pay your attention that in the 60s there was euphoria about mathematical method in the economy, and the Central Mathematical Economy University was founded, which was trying to build the universal model for the Soviet economy. Mr. Glushkov proved that it was impossible to reach this target based on Gödel theorem. Even arithmetics is not the full theory. It's impossible to prove whether they are true or false. Economy is a more complicated object. That is why Glushkov proved that only interactive approach can be used for development of economic mathematics models. And this is of high importance. This approach to the economy management is used nowadays, including digitalization. Technical basis for AGAS was the United States network of calculating centers. Mr. Glushkov suggested the first preliminary project in 1964. The main part was automatization system of planning calculations, and prototype was Displan. Displan is a dialog system of planning calculations. Also, a script modeling was used. It was implemented in SU, and by the 90s, 90% in all planning calculations in the Ukrainian USSR were made automatized, and Ukrainian Soviet Socialistic Republic amounted to 25% of the industry of the whole Soviet Union. It used to be a really powerful republic, and of course it was really challenging to manage such kind of a powerful republic. The main contribution by Mr. Glushkov was concept of planning and management, scientific technological progress. We could build the plan once, make a focus for 1,000 years ahead, but everything has been developed rapidly. That is why Mr. Glushkov suggested the concept, where he suggested development where complex targeted programs should be carried out simultaneously. For forecasting of scientific technological progress, approach of the forecasting tree was suggested. What was the sense of this method? After receiving the target, then we follow the target starting from the last target, and the method allows to aggregate opinions of experts, and as a result, receiving methods how to achieve these goals. As a result, it was possible to make a forecast for 10-15 years and build plans. So mixed graphs consisted of forecasting, which were turned into plans, represented itself as the method of management of scientific technological progress. All this conception was implemented in the Soviet of Economic Coordination. In the Soviet Union, there were two groups. One group was the 9 ministries of defense. Mr. Dmitry Ustinov was a friend of Mr. Glushkov, and he approved implementation of all ideas of Mr. Glushkov's in these industries. The second group consisted of oil and gas experts and the program of privatization, which led to the collapse of the Soviet Union and simplification of the economy. For example, we lost a lot of industries like aviation construction, machine construction, and so on. The heads of parties didn't want to share their power with young technocrats, and that's why they prevented this project, which led to the collapse of the Soviet Union, because of the state plan, it was impossible to manage the economy. Mr. Glushkov was not the only one who developed this approach, but also Mr. Kitov in 1959 sent his red book to Mr. Khrushchev. Students of Glushkov, Kurikhin, Stogny, and other in 1980s in the USSR, there were 4,000 Republic Industrial ASUs. You just can't imagine that scale in 1980s. In the USA, the first achievements appeared in 1960s, and in 1990s they started work on development electronic government. Nowadays, many countries have developed digital systems of program targeted state management. We have this in national papers, but it exists only on paper. It's not put into life yet. Mr. Clinton was the president of the United States for 2 times, and the first decree was implementation of the program targeted management in the USA government, aimed at improvement of quality and increasing efficiency of the services and satisfaction of population by the services provided by the state increased from 60% to 70%. On the screen, you can see the levels of digital government. We see that everything starts from electronic government, then open government, then data-centric, then completely digital and smart. This is a question which many people ask: what relation has artificial intelligence to the digital economy. What we are doing now, we are trying to move from open government to data-centric. Of course, on this stage, we use a lot of data and a lot of artificial intelligence. And smart government consists only of artificial intelligence. What is going on today? What trends and what achievements in the digital state management in Russia, according to a liberal model? We start from the client, from the person. The state is the service platform that serves citizens, provides services for people. Depending on life situations, we define the necessities of people, their requirements, and services are provided. It is important for people in order to get driving license or register their property electronically. You can see the platform of the state tech. This is the platform of accelerating and launching of services. At first, there is state cloud, then data fabrics, then basic services of the platform, typical solutions, and then channels, including united platform of the state services, Gossuslуги is called in Russian. We have basic services. We have services of management. All this is great. We have to do it, but the state shouldn't be limited to it. We have one platform of state services which all of us use. In the index of development of electronic government, Russia occupied only 42nd place. We are not champions here. But a lot of things are being carried out. When we reached a critical point in terms of contradictions with the West. In 2014, when crisis in Ukraine broke out and hybrid war started, and our state understood that the digital planning is not only the for providing services for the citizens. In 2021, the decree was signed by the President of Russian Federation, Mr. Putin, about approval of the basis of the state policy in the sphere of strategic planning in Russian Federation, aimed at development of methods and tools for strategic planning and management in Russia, and creation of digital informational analytical platform and strategical planning of the Russian Federation. And the planning functional of the digital platform in the sphere of the strategic management, let me pay your attention. It's bearing. This is a digital platform for approval. It's not programming aimed management. There is Wikipedia, an opportunity to share plans, check the reports, but nothing more. Of course, it's a step forward in comparison with paper national projects which is on paper. The main disadvantage of this digital platform is there is no functions of programming aimed to management. There are no functions on planning and management of scientific technical progress, and this is why we are falling behind in the scientific technological progress. So we cannot ensure the technological sovereignty, and we are not the leaders of technological progress as used to be.
That's what we have. On the bottom level of our economy, on our enterprises, they have their cooperative information system. State corporations also have this system. National projects, as far, they mainly exist on paper, although we do develop the digital platforms, but they're not the complete one. They lack this management by objectives. And the rest is done based on the state budget, which is approved by State Duma for 3 years. And then the counting chamber, they does check whether the money was used for purposes, and nobody ever checks the results. You can, for example, in the national project of digital economy, according to the AI, you can finance 100 startups or 300 startups on AI. They were financed, but what have they developed? Why they need it? Maybe they left for California. Nobody pays attention to this. It means we lack in this management by objectives. That is why on the 9th of February, just recently, in our university named after Plekhanov, there was a roundtable discussion that is local and international experience for the, nearest future. We received academician Glaziev, representatives of the other institutions, and we established the working group on improvement methodology and state planning. We have representatives of many educational establishments in the field of economy and also from the scientific and research organizations. And we all based on the idea of the digital state planning. So this is the proposed structure of the digital state. Of course, we are talking about the digital platform services, and there are three pillars: the digital power, digital business, and digital community. Digital power, apart from the center of the transformation of the state management, we also propose to have the strategic planning. How it will look like? Something like here, like it looks in business. In business, we have the system of performance management, with which we have the strategy, which is transformed into the tree of purposes, then the system of the KPIs, infrastructure of responsibilities, management, which control the efficiency of the employees, and regular accounting, regular reporting. This is the typical management by objectives. Of course, plan becomes, or strategy is transferred into a computer model, and this is constantly corrected depending on the results. We can establish the new, ambitious, more ambitious goals, or to correct them somehow, and thus we move forward. The same like the airplane moves according to the route, the auto control, they can check and they can change the route. So the conclusions: Russia needs the system of the objectives management, digital objective management, take into account indicative planning, then control of effectiveness, and take into account this concept of digital transformation and services of the government. We do need them, but it's not sufficient. And the idea of the national automated data process and control system and concept of managing the plans, it can be used as a basis. The modern social economic environment not only ready for these ideas, but they really needs it. And according to the data of the French intelligence, there were some publications recently, this system in power industries, they have already started the development of this system in the defense industry, and they're accelerating this development, and we can observe that it is done. So there is a lot of interest towards these ideas and towards this topic, and I call to our students, to our partners, to our researchers to join our working group. I'm sure we'll have funding here, and of course it is one of the priorities of the state. On Thursday we had this meeting, and next day Chernyshenko called to our rector and he asked for all the materials of this roundtable discussion, and they were required to be sent to the government. So it's a very topical issue. Thank you for your attention. I just want to mention one more thing. We now have the website, which is devoted to the scientific heritage of Glushkov, and we are going to have a conference devoted to his 100th anniversary. We'll have a conference of the information technology and mathematical methods of control. It will be on 23rd, 24th of March. We invite our teachers, our professors and students to take part into this conference, and we also have a roundtable in the public chamber, and I invite our industrial partners, because this roundtable will be related with the problems of the state management and the digital state management. So thank you for your attention, dear colleagues. Thank you, Olga Viktorovna, for this absolutely unique vision of how we can to put on the horseman without a hat, the management of the state. I'm sure the university, our university, is a kind of incubator of this type of heads. Of course, I now apply to our students, motivated, energetic ones, very young ones. I'm sure you'll make a great contribution to implement these ambitious goals. So the next speaker, please. Yes, we have to move forward because the end of our session, of our sector, is at 11:30. So please, just 10-15 minutes. My request for you, follow these timelines. So the next speaker is Alexey Ivanovich Arustamov. He is the CEO of Loginom company. Of course, we are all interested now what we have to do that not Microsoft, not Oracle, but Loginom will become the global leader in the field of data analytics, and it will be known not only in Russia but all over the world, globally. And I'm sure that you, Alexey, will tell us about this. Yes, thank you very much, dear colleagues. My name is Alexey Arustamov, and I'm the director of Loginom company. We are involved in the development of the data analysis things, and we are for quite a long time involved in this activity, for like 25 years. Half of you haven't been born when we started to develop the new neural networks. But of course, everybody well aware about the products of your company. Just want to speak about the digital transformation and what happens to it and what kind of disruption we see here. When we talk about the digital transformation, it is digitalization which goes through all aspects of the organization's activity. It means a lot of people are involved in these processes because we're talking about all, once again. And it is concerned not only application of computers and networks, but also the business processes and so on. We have the polls and surveys, and what are the problems that directors and the other employees see. And they say it's really difficult to explain and difficult to change something. We do understand we need it, but it's not so simple. And there are no specialists, specific people, experts who can do it. And so what's it all about? First of all, there are a lot of things which are developed of programming, different languages of programming. A lot can be done there, but as a matter of fact, not many people can use it. There are not so many programmers, software developers, and they cost rather big money. It's not easy to train these specialists. If it will be easy, of course, they wouldn't get these high salaries. But there's one more problem. There are business users and there are developers, programmers. Of course, programmers, developers, they know a lot about algorithm, IT, but don't understand much about business. I'm not talking about the commercial side. I'm talking about business processes and business users. They do understand well what does business mean, finance, but they're not specialists in IT, in the things developed with the programs, software. You know, like Kazma Protkov, I'm a specialist. Nobody can know everything quite well, and it's natural. Nothing strange about it. And to change the situation, we have developed the platform which is called Loginom. It allows to perform the processing, or for the people who do not understand quite much about the program and those who know how to work in Excel. This is 99% of our business users. How it works? What does it mean? How can it be done to solve very complicated things? There is some kind of scenario, the blocks that can be put, and something we can have as a result. So the typical task, this is forecasting. We take from one source, we unite them, we make a model, we build a forecast, and we get the result in the long run. Visual, design helps you a lot. And if you just talk with the people and you try to ask them how to solve the task and you give them a chalk, they will draw something like this. They say, we took data from here, we take data from here, we built something here. So it's natural. Another important thing, this is accumulation of business expertise, because there are a lot of repetitive things, the prognostic models, the content of KPIs, and it's good if you can apply it many times in different projects. And another thing, visualization, and it's quite important for us. The evolution moves in this way. We cannot change it in a couple of years. That is why the result should be not only built, but we should visualize it. We should present it visually. I would like to give you several cases how it changes the life in the company. These are real cases. Uralchem, for example, that's quite a big company. So what happens here? What was the task here? There's a big number of people, and they want to involve them into digitalization. But how to do it? There is a long list of tasks. There's a platform of data, different reports, KPIs, so a lot of tasks there. And you can see what could be done. So what did they do? They made the School of Analytics, and there are very impressive figures there. I was shocked when I saw it first time. They involved 1,000 people who went through the training. 300 people, they received trained people in the long run. Quite good result. 300 people who can, by themselves, without the developers, can solve the task related to the analysis without any IT specialist. And you see here the data. For instance, the viewing of dashboards. It increased from 80 to 120,000. You see this peak. It's a kind of breakthrough, revolution in the field of digitalization. You see how many people were involved in this, and they made it during 1 year, in 1 year time. Why? Not because they have some miracle technologies, but a lot of people were involved. For example, there were 10 people, now they have 300 people. Of course, they made mistakes. When 300 people work, of course, they made mistakes. It's natural. The next example I want to show you, this is company Baltica, quite a big company also, and what they have is how to manage the stock and some other things, and they apply the set of technologies. And the task was to do those people who don't much about IT, don't want to be involved in programming, they could do something, and they would focus on self-service, and people do something. So they train people, they show them how to do, and as a result, a lot of examples, a lot of tasks that they faced, they will solve them without any kind of programming, just visually. And this is quite an impressive example, the development of promo action, promo campaign, and to assess the efficiency of your promotion campaign. It's a rather difficult task. Nobody knows what you spend money on, and you have to respond somehow to your promotion campaign. If there were some mistakes, you have to correct them, and it is done in this type of interactive mode. The next company that I want to show you, this is Ruslimat. They are involved in different devices, like in the ventilation and HVAC. And they do it before. Everything was done in a manual. You do it by their hands. There were some mistakes. They gave it back. So it took a lot of time. And they also took this ideology of low code. The product is not so important, but this ideology of low code allows you to involve a lot of people. And you see the revolutionary changes when they're concerned not just 1, 2 people, as a very specific, very clever people, but when all people, at least 100 people, 1,000 people are involved, and they do it, and all these manual calculations and scenarios and computing, they were changed for them. And you see how many changes we see now. It was done before by hands, everything, but now we see this type of this scenario. They took data, and we see the result, the effect of it. The logics has changed. You see? There are no things like, let's come back. When we are doing it by hands. For months we collected data, then the situation changed, we came back and we start again these improvements, these corrections. That was done, worked in this day. But now we calculated everything, we compound everything, and we see the result. The Excel was at the head of everything, but now it's done during 1 hour and a half, and mainly the time is spent on compounding. You see routine things, but we see the increase in efficiency 10, 15 times, and we reduce the efforts. And you see many companies are not into digitalization. They do understand quite well. They all want to do it because digitalization is so important. We would like to do it. But if you have no people who can do it, or you have no mechanism to do it, then it's very expensive. And the companies are not ready for this. They cannot hire 50 people more to do something. Sberbank can do it. They can allow this to do, can afford it. But many other companies cannot do it, cannot follow the example. That's why we have to understand it's rather expensive. And why? And as far as it is expensive, they are not implemented into life. Of course, I would like to drive Rolls-Royce, but still I am walking by foot because I have no money for Rolls-Royce. But when it becomes cheaper, I mean, not in terms of money, but in terms of human resources, because it's all money. But when we can use more people here, we can use the expert knowledge, then we find out the companies are ready to do a lot because the price for the experiment will go down. Could you imagine, for instance, for experiment, we have to have a team of 10 people and we have to work for 1 year. They don't have money for this. Business doesn't work in this way. But when it becomes cheaper in terms of resources, time, people, then they have a wish to do it and they have the ability, the opportunity to do it, to launch it in practice. That's why I may say that everything which is related to low code, it's a mechanism to somehow propaganda and spread, distribute this, work with data. And it's very important because we recommend to all students to use this low code. You can take it free. There are a lot of data, a lot of material, so it can help a lot of people to be involved in all these activities, and the knowledge that has been accumulated, it can be used for the business to make it more efficient one. So you can benefit from it, you yourself and the companies, those who participate here, because economy, this is the game with the zero sum. This is a win-win situation for all parties. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alexey Ivanovich.
Highly qualified human resources are required who are capable of programming, know how to do business. We have such human resources and who are looking for positions in the companies. Yes, it is important that those people who will be engaged in economy, it's not only about programming, it doesn't mean that if a person is good in programming, he can manage the trade. These are different universes. Let him try to open a trade sport and overcome 1 month of competition. So it is important that those 5 years of education that people accumulate, they can transform in the future and include in the mechanism of decision-making process. Thank you so much. And the topic of digital transformation of Russian companies, the next speaker will continue, rector of IT Academy, Softline company, Igor Morozov. The floor is yours. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. My name is Igor Morozov. I'm a rector of IT Academy. This is an educational institution that for 28 years has been educating people. My presentation is called Challenges in the Digital Transformation of Russia. facing these challenges, the main challenge is a lack of highly qualified human resources. This is a great piece of news for all of you, because it means that all of you will be on demand on the IT market as soon as you graduate from this great university. I would like to share my opinion on this topic about situation on the market of human resources in IT industry. Mass media are sharing information that everybody has left, and that is why IT industry will come to an end. I'm not going to judge those figures. I'm not going to discuss the figures which I notice in the mass media, but I have spent quite a lot of time working in the IT industry. That is why IT industry, in the context of a lack of human resources, has been operating for a long period of time. You can see the slide with different situations like COVID, rapid change of currency exchange rate. At the end of last century, many things were quite similar. I remember a lot of ads at the end of previous century, like move to Canada, you will make a fortune. Nothing has changed, and we always face some challenges. When you enter the market of IT industry, you have competitors from all over the world from one side, but from the other side, you have a vast number of opportunities. I wouldn't be focused on the fact of the lack of human resources in terms of quantity, but I would like to mention the such problem as irrelevant proportion or irrelevant ratio. What I mean. I remember the beginning of the current century, there was a high demand of engineers. When there were enough engineers, we have found out that there is high demand in programming, and there was high demand on developers. Then we realized that there were more than enough developers, but all of them were juniors, and there was a high demand for middle and senior developers, then, and so on and so on. This situation of a lack of human resources is defined by the dynamics and those rapid changes that are going on now. Of course, the personal strategy is required. The situation is changeable. It goes without saying that the previous year and the current year, the situation on the market of human resources are unprecedented and at the same time motivating. We haven't noticed it for 20 or 30 years that there is a great impact on those skills which IT experts used to have was made by the companies from abroad. They implemented trainings and workshops on how to use their products, made a network of their industrial partners, and those number of IT experts that we have now, these are people who are educated due to foreign technologies. And now we have a situation when our foreign vendors quit the market, and this is a great opportunity for Russian market. We see a huge number of companies in Russia that develop their own products. From one side, we do not have enough experts for these products, but from the other side, we can offer as professional level of IT experts as abroad. Let me repeat myself that challenges this year, of course, are available, but the speed of the processes is incredible. Those companies will win which invest into human resources, human capital, who train the human resources, It relates to service companies, to manufacturers of software, hardware, and to many other industries as well. Among our customers, there is a necessity to train their own human resources, their own experts who can work with our domestic software. Those technologies are on demand now, which will be used in the future, and are not those technologies which were used yesterday. The companies and the people are not alone. There is a large number of measures which are being undertaken. First of all, I would like to note a special role of our government that is playing a very significant role, especially the Ministry of Digitalization. They motivated students to enter IT universities, and by 2024, it is planned that more than 500,000 of students will get IT education, and there is an incredible project is how to educate elderly people in IT industry. The project is called Digital Professions and suggests 24 directions for people who right now are not related to IT organizations. Thanks to available programs, they can get a new profession. These state measures are very important. And of course, the quantity of people engaged in IT, it doesn't solve all the challenges. It doesn't meet all the challenges. It is the position of the IT players is very important, who should make their own contribution into education of IT experts. First of all, for those technologies which are created by them. The first and interesting example is by company Rusbitech, which is manufacturing Astra Linux. They are like Russian Microsoft. They are manufacturing, developing operational system, and they train their human resources and prepare experts. They understand that the basis for success is highly qualified human resources. I am the participant of transformation of the market and building digital sovereignty, which we are talking about so often. Softline company had a lot of dramatic, I would say, changes. The company used to sell foreign software, and last year they launched a project to develop their own hardware and software. Within this strategy, the company was acquired, which is called IT Academy, in order to influence, to have an impact on preparation of IT human resources via the participation in the program Digital Professions, and to help people to get a new profession. At the end of my presentation, I would like to wish all of you great career. This is the time of opportunities. I'm sure if you plan your future career thoroughly, you will have the great future in our country. Thank you so much for your presentation. What should we how should we educate our students that tomorrow they would be the most demanded experts on the market? Can you please cut a long story short? Artificial intelligence, what else? Information security is the most important also. Not in the sphere of cyber threats, there are so many cyber threats. Just some statistics I would like to share. For for example, for one position in the sphere of cybersecurity, there is 0.7 CV. In 2003, I moved to Canada, maybe being influenced by the advertising, and then I came back, and I'm one of the examples that we have a lot of opportunities. Of course, in Canada there are many opportunities as well, but here in Russia we have a lot of opportunities for building a career. Next presenter is Sergei Nikichuk, associated partner of the company B1, which used to be known earlier as Ernst & Young. In the future, I think this company will be even more popular now with a new brand. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I was pleasantly surprised by the first presentation. I recollected my diploma on the key indicators of efficiency about Viktor Mikhailovich. For me, it's like algebra. Which all people should know. A lot has been already said already. My name is Sergei Nikichuk. I represent the company B1, which used to be Ernst & Young. We are engaged in consulting, large programs of transformation. We feel the market, what the market requires in the sphere of automation. I would like to mention three main trends which we face when we communicate with our customers. The state is one of our customers. We communicate quite a lot with the state. We carry out quite a lot of activities for the state and for the IT. There is a rule of 10,000 hours. If somebody wants to have a new profession, you need minimum 10,000 hours, and I would like to share with the students that we are information that we are ready to cooperate, to educate, to train. And when we conduct interviews, what I ask is motivation. What is your motivation to work, to achieve? This is what will help you to be successful. And another trend is technological sovereignty. I would like to quote Natalia Kasperskaya, who said that we don't need 20 operational systems in our country. The work of the IT of the programmer is crucially important, and to become an IT expert, you need to educate a lot. I agree with my colleagues. We need to create the platform and various ecosystems and to consider how to reuse the code. And the third trend is that the state is getting the leader in digitalization. We have already mentioned the leaders which are even maybe ahead of state, but the state is becoming the driving power for everybody. I would like to share my field experience, what we do, how we consider automation. First of all, I would like to share the thesis by Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. Every company is a software company. In the market, we don't see just simple manufacturers of goods. Of course, there are some small and medium businesses, but all large companies are striving for becoming large companies. For example, we just don't want to have taxi. We want to have Yandex application. We don't want to go to the cinema. We want to have online cinema at home. Each company considers its application as an option for personalization of the product for you, or how to ensure omni-channels, how to provide you proper services. All companies consider applications from different points of views, and it creates values in different industries. Of course, there are new technologies which are being actively used. There are a lot of clouds, low codes, no codes, artificial intelligence. All this is very interesting and used by many companies. The driver of transformation is financial function. Any budget, any initiative, at first has the financial function. We see that financial experts are on top of the transformation. We used to consider that IT approach is decreasing the human impact. Now the topic of analytics is on demand. Everybody is trying to start educating, but we will share the information what factors limit analytics and what companies should do to more efficiently use the analytics. The current challenge is that if we'd like to use modern technologies, we should prepare our data and tools. Unfortunately, we have a large scope of work ahead of us. When the company is being transformed from the middle to the large enterprise, from Excel sheet to large software systems, this work is not completed. We speak a lot about new technologies, Telegram channels where we write how we can use these tools. But the companies are in the middle. Most of our work as consulting company is connected with ERP. And our foreign colleagues are more engaged in service questions. We see that ERP's technology is quite clear. A large number of experts is prepared on this stage, and we are moving to the right. Financial sector, trade sector are the leaders. Their financial results depend on it. And other industries are trying to get correct data. At the same time, we see that within previous year, a lot of threats emerged. That's why we are developing programs of continuity of business, how to protect compliance, and many other questions. We solve a lot of issues, and all of them are included in the transformation program. What is IT architecture? When we speak about IT architecture, lots of people immediately consider building a house. We built a large house. There is design, there is functionality, balcony, and so on. So we built the house. If we used to consider that in 5-7 years we would build another house, these strategies would last only 5-7 years. Now the concept is not applicable. The companies amend their IT strategy every year. We are moving to the architecture of data storage. The functions are more independent, but they should coordinate their work. For example, if you recollect how buyers and financial experts start discussions about cooperation, they need to cooperate. And data governance, warm data, hot data, cold data, how to build this in the company, who will be responsible for that. This is a really important task. And next stage is microservice architecture. Our leaders are doing exactly the same microservice architecture. The company has unified corporate system how to develop services, and each division of the company can prepare their own service, not breaking our ERP. And those companies which are transforming to the level of microservice architecture, they can implement changes very fast. We implemented the project long ago for one special retailer who is producing Spanish clothes, and for example, the task was to provide different assortment to different malls, and the program should send the necessary data to Spain, and there was a forecast of assortment, and then the truck was moving from Spain to Moscow, and once in 2 weeks the assortment was changed. This system couldn't be unified. Everything is changed. Different tools and technologies were used, and everywhere services were communicating with each other. And we assisted the company in developing this data flowing in order to understand the right assortment, the proper assortment for each mall.
And also very important to pass from interaction of business IT, because business forms the requirements and IT executes this task. So it's a kind of service function. No, we are talking now about the product teams. There should be a product owner appointed, and he is following this product and the requirements to the product. IT is a part of this big product team. And the last, how it works. It's always important to perform the due diligence, the audit of the company, to calculate the business case and what would they need to develop the required product. And we see that the companies now are rather flexible, and they work with the internal IT resources, also with different integrated companies, with the accelerators, with the freelancers, under the conditions of lack of specific experts. And we know the expertise of these specialists should be quite wide, or rather wide, and we see that companies now are using a lot of opportunities how they can involve the specialists. So thank you for your attention. Thank you very much. Thank you for a very interesting presentation. Please tell me, as far there are fundamental changes in our modern business landscape that we observe now, what niches are now become empty, where you see the main business opportunities for the startups? You know, I think the most important niche for the startups, it's where you are the best, because the development we were mentioning, cybersecurity, analytical business, the ERP, there are a lot of, very topical issues and a lot that should be done. And I think it's important what you know best, where you have some experience, and I see a lot of opportunities everywhere. Maybe there are any questions from the floor, please. We do have some time for 1-2 brief questions, or maybe after, when we finish our main session. Okay, the next speaker is Viktor Vladimirovich Kitov, who will introduce very complicated, technical, but very important at the front line topic that's about the transfer of the style. He is the author of a lot of developments and very interesting software programs. Good morning, dear colleagues. I'm happy to greet everybody. Really very interesting presentations. And I'm really happy to see our young generation. Great that you are here. Future is yours. My name is Kitov Viktor, and I'm the senior researcher in the laboratory in Plekhanov University. And I'm also involved in the machine learning and deep learning in Lomonosov University on the chair of mathematics and cybernetics, and in some other places like in Tinkoff Bank, for example, and also in Imperial College in London. And this is really very interesting field, and I call all to you. Maybe either you can attend some mandatory courses, or it may be a kind of self-education in internet. There is a lot of information there in the internet. And what you can see in the presentations of the other speakers, the future is there. So you can use it to build your career, these skills. I'm myself support informational technologies with the face, with the human face, because they have to service not any kind of public control, but to enlarge our abilities, human abilities, our capabilities. And with the framework of this concept, I want to speak about my private work as one of the students. Very interesting work when information technologies are used in art, in the field of art. I would like to speak about the task of neural net transfer of a style. For instance, we have a picture of the user. I'll call it content, this picture. We have an image with a style. It's a targeted image, and it should be overlapped. And the result is stylish picture of the user, stylish content. I know you know this task, this like application Prisma, that when it appeared in CIS countries, it is, the leader in the downloads, and there are a lot of alternative solutions now. This technology is now applied in many fields and can be applied in many things. Of course, it's first of all in the leisure industry and entertainment, because style increases you to improve the social communication, because people are very fond of exchanging pictures. And Instagram, for example, daily we see 100 million new images. And of course, people, bloggers, they would want to draw attention to themselves in this, enormous flow of information, stream of information. And thus, using this stylish accent, it helps you to make the message much more attractive and interesting. It also can be applied in the commercials, in advertising, because it has been calculated that the average person can see per day 3,000 images of the visual advertisements. And if you want a person to remember your particular promo, it should be very impressive and should be outstanding. Also, it can be used in design to make the illustrations in books, in websites, in video games. And of course, it can simplify animation cartoons development, because instead of drawing every particular shot, you can shoot or record some scenes with the actors and then apply them to the animated style, to the animation. I look at the works of Leon Gages from 2016, where he proposed the universal method of stylization based on the neural networks, deep neural networks. You can use your own style using the template, the reference image. You have one and the same image of the content, like the city landscape. And here you can see the smaller images. These are stylish processed pictures of different artists, and you can understand how it works. This is a very powerful method, very flexible method, but the drawback of it is too flexible, because it takes a style itself as it is, and as far as they use deep neural networks, all the particular features, all the attributes of this style are transferred. If you look on top right image, this quite well-known painting, Cry, you see the yellowish or reddish orange sky, and then there are some ribbons, and they are transferred to the content image, and thus we see too much, disillusionment, because the previous picture was rather sharp. And if you look to the left, down left, here the style is the very sharp, very precise lines, and neural network, they transfer it, and there we see artifacts that on the sky, they should be quite smooth, quite even. We now see some artifacts, some lines that were transferred from the style. So the goal of this work, to remove these artifacts, And we started from the concept that the style shouldn't be transferred in a raw style, in a raw way, but it should be artificially processed, a kind of pre-processing in order to correspond better to the content on which we're going to use it. And there are three types of pre-processing. First, it should be looked at different angles. This is first. And to understand it, which will better suits to the style of the content. The second idea is we look at different fragments, different parts of the stylish image, and we try to choose the best one for the targeted content. And then we look at the scale of the fragment, because also there can be some disconformity in terms of scales. We considered, we analyzed the character of the dependency of the content and style depending on the angle. Here you can see the chart on top left. You can see a lot of local minimums. There are a lot of angles which correspond to the content. And then we investigated whether the fragment of the stylish image really suits well to our content, and it is shown as a heat map, and you can see it right in the bottom right. Again, you can see a lot of local minimums, because it means there are a lot of fragments that will be very organically applied to the content or original content. If we speak about the scale, this is one expressed minimum, and it means there is one particular scale. And thus we have the idea of optimization of the algorithm. So it should be the same. We are looking at different angles, we're looking at different fragments, then we take the set of angles and fragments, but the scale should be applied as a unique one, just so, for the family of the goal images. Here you see the pseudocode. I talked about it, I have described it. So intuitively, we are not looking at the initial stylish image. We try to extract some fragments at different scales, and then we rotate them, and we see what matches good and what matches bad for the targeted content. Then we see the subset of the stylish images. Then we take the average style from them, we extract this average style, then we look what peculiarities, what characteristics correspond to this targeted content. And here we see different results. We can compare these results. Maybe there could be more of these images, but in any way, you can zoom it in your cell phones. On top, you can see the content image and the targeted style, and down you can see this stylization in a puzzle method. This is to the left on top, right on top, and two bottom ones. These are two subtypes of the proposed method when we see only angle or when we see only the scale and fragment. This is to the right in the bottom. If to look at the comparative analysis, then we can see that the proposed method works better because we adapt the scale, we adapt the rotation, the angle, and also we adapt the fragment of the style. And thus, here, the result of the stylization is much more precise and more accurate, because the targeted picture of the user is very sharp, but in the style it has different type of fragments. It means when we extracted the scale, it allowed us to focus on the relevant fragments of the, and there's no, sonnet. Thus we see rather precise result. And the characteristic, the attribute of this example, that the content image are trees in the forest, and you see the vertical lines, and stylish image is characterized by the horizontal lines, prolonged horizontal line. If we apply the style as it is, then again we see them not very sharp. You can see it on the left-hand picture. And to the right, on top, it allows us to preserve very sharp image. So thus, we have chosen the optimal angle for the style before stylization. Then we made the experiment. We performed the experiment. We make it using two ways, basic and propose, for different sets of images, and we show it to the respondents. And we ask the respondent to choose the stylish picture which they prefer, the stylized. And from the statistic, you see that people prefer modified method when we just select the angle and the size, the scale, the size. Thus, we propose the standard method of stylization. We take into account the scale, the angle, and the style, which matches the content, and thus we get the better quality of stylization. And the drawback of this approach is that, as a result, we see the additional computation requirements for pre-processing, but for the online method, this is not a real drawback, not a real disadvantage, and this problem can be solved. And those who are interested, and explain to you after my presentation how it should be done. Thank you very much. Of course, now I want to invite all participants, all those who are here, or maybe those who follow us in internet. I invite you to the Laboratory of Artificial Intelligence and Business Analytics of our university, and I am the head of this laboratory. And Viktor Vladimirovich and Alexey Nikolaevich Averkin are going to present this laboratory, and they will speak on this topic. I'm sure all of us are interested to experiment with your algorithm using different data. AlterDraw site, website, where it is now, where it is located now. AlterDraw site, website, that was my own development. And now I've closed this site temporarily because of the, common uncertainty, because the targeted audience was the whole world. And now we have the problem with the international payments, but I'm sure they will be using some kind of algorithm. You'll put it into the internet on GitHub, okay? Because we will be able to publish the link to your algorithm. Would be interesting to experiment with you. And now we have the closing presentation, Alexey Averkin, about the artificial intelligence of the third generation. How much time do we have? 15 minutes. Okay, good. 15 minutes. 13 minutes. Okay, I'll try to follow timelines. I just want to represent myself. I'm called there as an employee of the Federal Research Center, Computer Science and Control of the Russian Academy of Sciences, chief researcher, but I also work in the Laboratory of Artificial Intelligence as a Center of Cognitive Research under the leadership of Olga Viktorovna. For more than 15 years, I work here, and a lot connects me with the Plekhanov University. For instance, my daughter worked here. Then she worked in Japan. Now she works in Oxford, and some of her students, she took her students first to Japan and then to Oxford. You see, so quite successful students, and they are in demand in many best world laboratories. And working here in this Computer Science and Control Center of the Russian Academy of Sciences under the leadership of academician Gorodnitsky. He was a good friend of academician Glushkov. We work very closely together. And several times I made a business trip to the Cybernetics University. We met personally. And we are going to celebrate his 100th anniversary for 1 year. He is really a great man. And as Olga Viktorovna mentioned, if his ideas were implemented, then we still have USSR. It wouldn't collapse, and the world history will take another way. Of course, his early death was a real loss for the USSR. But I hope that now we can catch up. With our modern programming, we will be able to do it, and we will be able to improve the situation. Now about the artificial intelligence. For the second time already 2 years ago, for example, there was a presentation on the same topic. You see, when was it? Yeah. Okay, let me find how to deal with the presentation. From this moment, a lot changed. And artificial intelligence from a kind of option became now a kind of separate new wave, I would call it a new generation of the system of artificial intelligence. If you remember, in September 2012, when the strategy of artificial intelligence was adopted by the Russian Federation, the president of the Russian Federation mentioned that the countries with the developed AI will be, have an advantage, which much more even than nuclear weapon. And he said that Russia has all chances to be successful in this respect. And Elon Musk, just several days ago, again compared the AI with a nuclear weapon, but on the other context. He said it can work both for the benefit of the world, and it can be also a great threat for the world. It's a kind of plagiat. You have to quote, mentioning the source. I'm talking about Elon Musk. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
The strategy is quite large. One of the principles of using the technology of artificial intelligence is transparency. So clearance of work, of coordination between the work of artificial intelligence and reaching of results. And availability of information using in the products and algorithm. The word transparency appeared in 2019. So we use the words also interpretation. In 2018, an expensive program of American Agency of Defense Research was accepted, the cost of which amounted to several billion US dollars, and it explains the system of artificial intelligence. In hype cycle, I will skip this slide because it's not viewed. In the cycle of 2021, one of the main trend is composition of the artificial intelligence, which is currently unites approaches of collecting artificial intelligence with symbolic approaches such as consideration, agents modeling, and method optimization. Going through the stage of the symbolic artificial intelligence and reaching the stage of artificial intelligence, again we are moving to hybrid systems. Gunnar calls it trustful algorithm. The third trend mentions the necessity to develop the systems of artificial intelligence based on principles of transparency and take care of security, of data security. Three waves of data are symbol collective. They are going up and down, and the third wave is connected with the artificial intelligence on the right side. This is financing of which amounts to $2 billion US. The program is not complete, but now we are talking about the third stage, the third generation. INX on this table is split into two parts. The first stage, as I said, is symbolic. The second wave is from 1956, and the second wave is educated really well. but quite weak in discussion, using statistics education, deep education mainly reached the success in processing images and the text. The third wave took place in the 30s. Dartford calls it context adaptation. The artificial intelligence understands what it is doing. Neural network can explain its actions. There is a necessity to explain its decision. We need less data for education and minimum outside control. That is what we are dealing with now. The speed of promotion of this wave is great. 2 years ago, within scholarship of Plekhanov University, a review of artificial intelligence was published. It was the first one in Russia. Since that time, lots of scientists have been engaged in it. There is by the way, I also represent the Russian Association of Artificial Intelligence. We conduct annually schools of artificial intelligence, and the third school was devoted to artificial intelligence. We should speak about the future revolutions. They start, they continue, and they come to an end. The fourth stage is super intelligence, so-called technological singularity. It is a moment when the person loses an opportunity to control development of technologies. It's not only about philosophy. There is a number of laboratories which research this problem. If we have a look what is going on in neuro chains, they have become so complicated that developers do not always understand how they work, and neuro chains appear that generate new neural chains according to the task. New ways of learning are generated, and even in explanation for the person it's very difficult to learn this. And now it seems to me that the task is emerging to speak about the fact that the system could explain itself what it is doing, and the system could explain it to the analysis system. So the agents becomes the systems. The person cannot understand what the agent is doing, but the system is still capable of understanding it. Next slide about lots of here we need to use cybernetic approach to revolution. This period is characterized as mega systematic approach to the network. In the 1990s, there was a forecast that there would be a machine in the first half of the 21st century that will be more intelligent than artificial intelligence. And I would like to pay attention. It's not only about these problems. We were very soon the networks will develop so fast that we will cease understanding what's going on there. Here on this website we have the history of development of explained models in artificial intelligence. From the very beginning there was the block of explanations. There were several waves of explanations in the expert systems based on knowledge. But we skipped the stage when deep neural systems appeared. But the idea is clear that we need to understand how deep neural network is operating. There are waves of explained artificial intelligence, and now we are on top of the third stage of artificial intelligence. let me scroll my slides. These are 4 principles of artificial intelligence. Explanation, meaning these are already standards. Systems of artificial intelligence will require competency and, for example, the person, if he has a hammer, he needs the nails. These are the standards. These are pictures in what industries there is a requirement for understanding of artificial intelligence of almost all industries. The function of approximation of the deep network, the explained model. There are questions which neurochains are not explained. Next step is on the next step, metrics of explanations of the systems are required. This is how promotion is going on in terms of the vast spectrum of machine learning, how to improve the models, wire models of the black box. There are many models in the program. 11 American universities, they quickly describe what they have completed. There is data analytics, autonomous, management of mounting, dismantling, management of remote aircrafts, remote piloted aircrafts. Here is remotely piloted vehicle, and I would like to come to an end on this slide. In the university in Nizhny Novgorod, there is a project of transport artificial intelligence under the guidance of Mr. Alexander in our university named after Plekhanov since 2022. There is a project of hybrid support decision making. The head is Sergei Yaroshov. He is here today. He is my postgraduate student. Sergei, please. He is on top 10 of the best young scientists of Russia. Next year, he will receive an award. It is called the reward is called the Achievement in the Scientific, in the Education and Science of Russia. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. I hope that I managed to give you the main idea. I would like to express hope that artificial intelligence will not be out of control, or Sergei will make up something. Here in the university named after Plekhanov, we have several laboratories, not only of scholarships, but also research of robots. Here in this building on the first floor, I think we need to check. By the way, this is domestic manufacturing Promobot company. Our session came to an end. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your participation.